Welcome back, family. I've got an awesome video for you today, courtesy of the great folks at Flexispot. They reached out to me recently and asked if they could send me their E5 Standing Desk for me to review. So we're going to dive into my thoughts about it and whether or not I think it could be a good option for you.
We have liftoff.
Just a quick disclaimer, Flexispot did provide this desk for me to review, but I will be giving you all of my real thoughts. You guys all know that I like to keep it real here on the channel with the fam, and I made sure that I'd be able to do that when it came to reviewing the desk. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First and foremost, why is a standing desk a good idea in the first place? And at the end of the day, I think it's really about just not sitting down and staying still for too long. If you work from home or have a pretty sedentary job, you can sometimes maybe find yourself sitting down for like the entire day. I know that's something I've dealt with, and this can lead to a range of issues from back problems, different types of pain, and your mental health could end up really being affected by it. So introducing some standing into that workflow could potentially lead to more focus, some extra energy, and maybe even a few extra calories burned throughout the day, which is never a bad thing. And it can also just help you really switch things up and make your day a bit more interesting. I've never had a standing desk, and using this one over the past few days has proven how beneficial this can actually be. Now I'll move into the packaging, and if you order both the legs and the desktop together, they will come in two separate packages, and just be aware, the box that contains the legs is not for the faint of heart. It's a decently small box, but it is very heavy, so be sure you know what you're doing when you're handling it. And the desktop that I was sent is the bamboo material, so it wasn't very heavy at all, but that box is pretty large, so that's something to be mindful of. Really, everything came packaged very well, and there were really no issues at all with the products inside getting damaged. They also do have a nice little disclaimer right there on the box that says they will happily replace anything that does get damaged in the shipping process, so that's a major plus to Flexispot for providing that great peace of mind. And while the desk really is pretty affordable, it can get pricey depending on your configuration, so it's good to know that they'll stand behind the product in the event of a disaster and help you get exactly what you wanted and paid for. Getting inside of the boxes now, I immediately noticed right off the bat just how high quality everything actually is, and the legs are really heavy and feel quite sturdy. The legs are obviously the hero in this whole equation with how they can lift and lower the desktop, so it's awesome that everything feels so premium. Really gives you that confidence that it will hold your computer or whatever else you decide to put on it. That E5 name is actually referring to this specific set of legs. It's an inverted 3-stage design that can support up to 287 pounds, which is pretty impressive. And it's a dual motor lifting system with a double crossbeam structure, getting real sciencey here, that makes it super nice and stable. Speaking of the legs, I chose the black color. You can also get the legs in white and gray. All of the colors look super clean, stealthy, and minimal, which is exactly what I want out of a desk. Now moving on to the desktop, and it's worth noting you can attach the legs into a variety of different desktops from third parties, so you don't necessarily need one from Flexispot, but I do think it's a good idea to get one from them because they were made to work with these legs. I have the bamboo variation and I chose the darker color. You can also get the desktop in several other materials and colors, which is pretty cool. Each one is a different price, so choose wisely and be sure you know what you want. I think that the bamboo is a great choice that's kind of a happy medium, kind of in the middle of that price range, and it does feel very solid and high quality as well. And bamboo is a great material. It holds up well to things like water, scratches, stuff like that, and is overall pretty durable. I also really enjoy how light it is. I can easily lift the desktop on my own with no problems, and it still feels nice and hefty. My previous desk was an IKEA model that was made out of like particle board or something, and the Flexispot just really feels head and shoulders above in terms of quality. You can get several different sizes as well. I chose the smallest, which is 55 by 28 by 1.1, I believe, and it fits my space perfect. When it comes to actually assembling the desk, I'm happy to report that it was a breeze. You know, despite how manly and craftsman-like I may appear, building furniture and desk and all that really is just not my thing, and my lovely girlfriend Alexis normally puts together any of the furniture we buy because she enjoys that kind of thing, but I did have to take a crack at this one for the sake of reviewing it for the fam. I am happy to say pretty much anyone should be able to do this. The instructions were simple to follow, and all of the hardware you use is labeled, comes in nice packaging. And if reading the manual isn't your thing, they do have a QR code on the booklet that comes with video instructions. The kit does come with an Allen wrench that you use for some of it, but I used my own tool in order to be a little bit faster. Be aware that you will also need a Phillips head and also maybe a drill. The instructions don't explicitly call for a drill, but there are a couple of areas where it recommends you drill some of your own holes when it comes to mounting the legs to the desk and I believe the control box. I get kind of nervous about drilling holes into things sometimes, but at the end of the day, it looks a lot scarier than it really is. Just make sure you're taking your time and you'll be fine. But if drilling, it really isn't your thing and you're super against it, you don't absolutely have to. Now to the fun part, which is actually raising and lowering the desk. And the keypad works like a dream. The desk lowers and raises very smoothly. You have a total of 3 presets you can set, and you only have to hit 2 buttons to set a preset. The desktop itself also has a decal on it with troubleshooting instructions in case you run into any issues. The noise that it makes as it's moving up and down isn't silent, but it's also nothing that's overly annoying or cumbersome or anything like that. It's also pretty quick, and it does get through its whole range from top to bottom pretty efficiently. And there's also some pretty other nifty features in the brain of this thing. You have a child lock feature, an anti-collision feature to prevent it from crushing things, and you can also program sit and stand reminders to make sure that you aren't destroying your back and posture. If I really did have to provide some critique on one thing, and I'm really nitpicking here, it probably would be that glossy keypad. It can be a bit of a fingerprint magnet, and I think maybe giving it a matte feel or maybe rubberizing the buttons a bit would be a good move in the future to prevent those fingerprints and also to make it look and feel just even more premium. Overall though, I am very happy with the desk. I feel like it's kind of hard to mess up on a desk like this when you are a pretty big name like Flexispot is. And while I did have a direct line of contact with a representative, the customer service was still very great and I enjoyed the experience. There are also several pretty sweet add-ons that you can get from Flexispot as well to make the desk even better. I was just sent the legs and the desktop, but you can also get monitor arms and stands that mount to the desk and give you some extra real estate. You can get a drawer to mount underneath that works with most models, gives you some extra storage. You can get a cable tray to help out with the cable management. You can get a power strip that clamps right on and gives you easy access to power. And you can also get wheels to mount underneath to make it even easier to move around. I really like how custom you can get with the ordering process and how much you can really make it your own. And the price is pretty great and competitive as well, considering how you can configure it to be more or less expensive depending on your wants and needs. This desk configuration as it stands would currently run you about $489.99 before taxes, and after using it for a few days now, I can pretty confidently tell you that it's worth it. It's firmly planted with no wobble, it's very heavy, it has lots of space even with my desktop being the smallest one you can order, and being able to raise it and lower it is really just the cherry on top. I have my presets for sitting and standing all dialed in, and the desk is really doing great so far. And if I'm being quite honest, it's the best desk I've ever had. I've always kind of made do with cheaper and more wobbly Walmart or IKEA desks, since most of my money's just being thrown into the furnace with camera gear and everything else for my business. And this new desk is really just showing me what I've been missing out on over the years. On the website, it has 4.5 stars with over 4,000 reviews, and it's just a pretty safe bet. They also have a 30-day risk-free return policy along with a 10-year warranty, so it's a win-win. I'm very excited to have this as my new workstation, and I'm super thankful to Flexispot for sending it over. In the grand scheme of things, my channel is still very small at the moment, so it was super cool of them to send this over for me to do a review on. I absolutely love being a YouTuber and getting to talk about cool and fun things along with providing some knowledge, so a big special thank you to Flexispot for contributing to that. And if you have enjoyed everything that you've seen and heard today, there will be an exclusive link down in the description below that you'll have access to in order to save some cash if you did want one of these for yourself. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. The fam is growing more and more every day, and I am just so crazy thankful for it. Let me know what else you want to see and what you thought of the video in general, but most importantly, always remember that you are blessed and you are loved. And as always, I'll be back soon.